you and I had a stressful moment in New York. Was it the Times Square Hotel or the Hotel Carter?
It was at Times Square.
The Times Square Hotel, which was basically like a flop house
It
at the
was.
time.
I don't know if it's still there or not, but
I think that they remodeled it.
I think you're right.
I think that they remodeled it.
Have to go out
So
and
this
look.
was a hotel where we would have planning meetings, and we would go scout out the abortion mills, and I think it was March. It was March of '88. It was still cold. It was still cold.
Rainy.
Yeah, it was miserable weather.
Miserable weather.
And we were in a room there, and it really was a flop house. And it was right over the New York Times. It was literally, underneath the hotel was the depot where the New York Times trucks were coming and going to deliver newspapers. And we were having one of our last meetings, and for some reason it started to derail. I'll let you recount it.
Well, you were talking a great deal about the arrests. Arrests seemed to be the thing. You wanted numbers of arrests. And I happened to be with a couple of pro-life leaders. I was having lunch with them, and I was talking about the plans, and they said, "Why all the arrests? This is New York. You're going out to Rikers Island. They're not going to be nice to you here." And they started really making it look very, very negative to be arrested, even at a sit-in.
I did not know that.
And so I listened to them, and then I thought, well, maybe a whole lot of arrests is not the best thing. Maybe just keep the clinic closed, and as they start taking you away, go back, but don't get arrested. And so I went back, and I just listened. You were all talking, and it was arrest, arrest, arrest. That seemed to be the big...
That was what we were talking about, yeah.
That. And so I said something to the effect that, why do you have to have all the arrests? You're liable to be biting off more than you can chew. And I think you were so determined to up the arrest number that I went out to catch a cab to go to St. Patrick's for Mass, and it was raining, so I was going to catch a cab, and you ran out. And you said something to the effect that, "Joe, if you can't go along with our plan, maybe it's better that you don't come." And I was hurt, but I said, "No, I'll be there." And in fact, I did come out with Andy Schulberg and Tim Murphy, and we were arrested.
Yes,
we were part of your 503. We were the three. and I could see, and of course it worked out beautifully. We all went to some police hall, instruction room or something, and were given a little slip of paper, and it was nothing to it.
Singing and praying.
Yeah, singing and praying, and very upbeat, and the way you had envisioned it. But I hadn't, because I had been sort of jaded in a way by this very, very well-meaning couple. But they were scared of the number of arrests and thought that it would be tougher than it was. But anyway, that was a kind of a falling out. I didn't, and then when I saw how well it went, I realized you had this under control.
I'll tell you something. I was 28, and I, following you out into the rain, I looked at Gary Lieber before I went out, and I said, "What do I do? I can't believe that just happened in the room," because you were the one who had convinced me to go with a peaceful arrest,
right.
and all of a sudden you're like, "Well," and it was one of the hardest things I ever did. I was fighting back tears. Even now, because you were a hero to me, and still are.
Well, I knew it was hard for you.
Oh,
I knew it was hard. And that's why I said
and
I will be.
the reason was because so many people respected you. My worst nightmare was that Joe Scheidler was going to stand up and say, "Maybe this isn't the best idea after all." I was like, "No, please, Joe, don't do that. You gave me permission. You gave all these people the blessing. You know, the Godfather has said you can do this, and then the Godfather says maybe you should not do this."
Well,
So,
I was with you all the way, and
yes, you were.
I think it was being with Mary and her husband that, and we had a long talk. We had lunch, and they were very negative. But I found out later. I kept working with them, and they were a delightful couple, but she was worried too much, and
in general.
She went to have a meeting with Cardinal O'Connor, and I think she sort of had this negative sort of approach. She saw the dark side, and we later broke off our friendship, which I was sorry for because we had been friends for many, many years. And she had been an activist and gone to the clinics and talked to women and done all the things that we were doing, but she didn't have the broad picture that you had. And for that moment, she actually made me over concerned. I lost some of my joie de vivre and optimism that you had as a younger guy and all. You were right, and you proved yourself right. In fact, that event that we finally came to with the 503 arrests was perfectly legitimate and handled beautifully. But we were learning. We were learning.
Right.